Okay, let's get right into it. What do you think are the problems with the way history is being taught right now? Do you think it's still being taught from a Eurocentric point of view?
Yes, for sure. I think there's the new belief now. It's called the new Western historians that are coming in, and they are trying. Right. It's kind of the new history, and it's the Western side that's been neglected. The East Coast has more information. We know more about Florida and Louisiana than we do about the West Coast experience for most Hispanics. And yes, it is being taught. What it is, it's being taught. Too little of our history is being taught, because what they cover, they try to make it very simple, and the simplistic approach to teaching the history leaves out really the reality of our presence and what we did do and the contributions which are current now and which are historical.
I'm a little confused. Are you feeling that the Eurocentric point of view is still being taught?
Yes, yes, in many situations. I just returned from Washington and talked to the new director of the Latino Initiative for the Smithsonian. They're aware that it's not being taught properly, and they're trying to, after a 5-year study, they're trying to get more awareness level. Also talked to the Corporation for Public Broadcasting. They said, you're speaking to the choir right now. We also believe that has to be more done.
Alex, what do you think?
Well, I'd like to see it done right. I don't come from really one point of view or the other. Somebody once said that if you were overly critical of historical figures or engage in too much adulation, you're simply being unhistorical. I would like to see this taught properly.
Where do you think we are today?
I'm afraid we're in the process of shifting from one extreme to the other. That's my concern. Of course, when you're dealing with very young kids, you teach simple concepts. By the time the kids get into junior high and high school, and of course by the time they're in college, you can get into a great deal of complexity and detail. And that's where you get a more accurate view of people like Columbus and the impact of what he did. And I want to play it straight. Now, this is a great country.
Go ahead, play it straight.
Just play it straight. Well, when you're teaching history, don't sugarcoat anything. Don't get too politically correct. Play it right down the middle. Give the kids a larger picture, and then let them draw their own conclusions.
Ladies, do you think...
Well, I think the term politically correct has certain nuances to it that I think we need to deconstruct a little bit, because even for very young children, and I was a first-grade teacher, in my teacher preparation programs as I went through, we were taught those little quaint sayings that then we gave to children as Columbus sailed the ocean blue in 1492. And I think even very young children are able to take a more critical perspective of what was here, what was present, and present different points of view, which is how we teach history from an inclusive perspective as opposed to from a single perspective.
Libertad, do you think the Eurocentric point of view is still being taught?
Definitely, and I think that the simple concepts that he was talking about are not only applied to elementary schools, but they're applied to the junior highs, the high schools, and even at college level, we're still being taught from a Eurocentric point of view, and we're still being taught simple concepts. We're not taught the broader picture. We're not taught what really happened. We're just giving simple concepts. Like you said, Columbus sailed the ocean blue in 1492. You know, kids don't know what island he landed on. Kids don't know who was there on that.
Now, the experts don't know really, so
somewhere in the world, Hispaniola.
I was doing my research. They said that the person who actually discovered America was not Columbus, and they gave the name of this specific Espanol. You know, it just seems like...
He was on a ship, though.
Right, it was on a ship.
Yeah, he was the one that was up at the mast looking.
Yeah, and that, I mean, how specific do you have to get? I mean, is that important?
But I think there's also a problem with using the word discovered. You can't discover something that already exists, and that's what we're teaching to children, that there was nothing here in the North American continents, that there was nothing that existed in these continents.
I agree with you. That's a
so
good
you have no
point.
problem with that Columbus did, ladies and gentlemen, the Columbus did not discover.
He encountered.
Right.
He encountered.
Columbus encountered America. And the other thing, isn't America based on the America Vespucci?
Exactly.
So why isn't it Vespuccia? The United States of Vespuccia. There's so many mistakes.
Well, even when you get to the concept of America, you know, America is a much more broad concept than just the United States. And America really encompasses South America, the Caribbean, Mexico, and all of North America.
Yeah, my father used to say, nosotros somos americanos, somos norteamericanos.
That's right.
You can't even say that Americans are North Americans, because so are Canadians, and so are Mexicans. What are the changes that you think should be made to history as it's being taught right now?
Well, I teach teachers who are going to be teachers as well as teachers who are getting advanced degrees. And I think that one of the ways that I try to promote teachers taking a critical stance is not accepting everything that you read in textbooks at face value, and really going beyond the textbook and questioning some of the things that are written, because as children we've tended to do that.
We're going to go beyond the textbook when you join us with more of Cafe California as we rediscover American history. What were you going to say?
I was going to respond to that because